How's it going? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So, hey, you're not going to delete anything.
No.
Stop. Give me your phone. What's going on?
Nothing.
Are you trying to delete something?
No, I'm heading on my way out.
You're on your way out?
Can I record this?
I'm getting it recorded right now. What I'm telling you is, I have reasonable suspicion you're trying to delete something right now. You went to put your phone away and you're trying to put it away. Do you have an ID on you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can give you my name. It's not a traffic stop, so I just legally have to give you my name, right?
Correct. You're absolutely correct. It would be it'd be easier for me to find you in the system if I have your ID.
That's fine. I just want to
Okay.
be clear on
How about this? I'll just set your phone over here. We'll come over here. We'll talk. I'm just gonna
what it's about.
Yeah, I'm gonna ID you. Okay.
Yeah.
Six base. I'm talking to him now. Tom Lincoln. We had a call that you were standing outside the bathroom with your camera open, and following young men into the bathroom and recording them. Is that true?
I've had a bit of a cold.
Okay.
And it may be true a little bit. Yeah.
It's a little true. Okay. So were you trying to delete stuff just now from your phone?
No.
Because you went to put your phone away and then you took it back out, realizing that you should probably delete stuff. That sounds about right, right?
Well, it's a police interaction, so I can have my phone out, but
you can, but you see how?
Yeah. Do you mind if we talk not in the?
Sure.
That's you can take. Yeah.
Where do you want to go?
Near the entrance is fine. I'm not gonna I'm not because an accident. It's not in the middle of the food court. It's just.
Yeah. Where do you want to go?
How about sort of like that?
Six base. I have eyes on the
straight the other
collar
side.
as well. Yeah, you go over there. Let's go over there. You have any weapons on you?
No.
Okay. Let's go over here.
You can pat my coat. I got gloves and coat.
I'll pat you down. We're over here.
Romeo out of Beechwood, Valley negative 30s.
For 1 second. Put your hands behind your back. The cop's right there in the blue sweater.
Eric, come over here. We'll talk. All right. So tell me what you saw.
All right. So we got here about 12:20, 12:30. I got my oldest right there and my youngest.
Right.
We went in the restroom. He bolted in behind my youngest.
He's sitting
He's been hanging out right over there by the entrance.
All right.
And okay. I work in the DD field, so I was like, okay, what's going on? So my oldest is across, in that divide there. He's in the urinal. I walked around the corner. He's got his phone with his little dinger there, and he's 45, at my kid.
So when you look at his phone, you could clearly see.
It looked like there was a camera app when he was walking out. I didn't see any picture, but it looked like he had a camera app.
It looked like it, or he?
It appeared. I wasn't close enough, but you don't stand at a urinal like this, especially right next to a child. Okay, so all right, maybe that's a one-off.
I'm trying to think. Is there a partition?
No.
So he's at the urinal with the phone
on the right,
and your son is next.
He's
to
at the second from the right. Okay,
and then you saw.
He bolted out. Just awkward behavior.
But when you walked in, you saw it.
Yeah,
and he just walked away like he wasn't urinating or nothing.
He kind of feigned like he was the first time.
But he had the phone in his hand.
And he's just standing there angled.
Did you do a fake shake? All right, and then your other son.
We went shopping, and I said, okay, whatever. I'm uncomfortable with this, so I want to address it. But I'm like, whatever, what can you do?
Right.
So, we went shopping a couple places, came back through. I saw he was still posted there, so I asked my youngest, I go, hey, you couldn't see us because we came from this side.
Right.
So, hey, go in the bathroom. Go in the bathroom for me if you would please give me a review. No, I don't want to. Good try. And sure enough, as soon as he sees him, he bolts up, he's walking in there. My youngest goes into the stall. That's how he pees. He just likes to sit in the stall. He's just aloof in there, like, what am I doing?
So you went in then the second time.
Behind him.
And he's just standing
And he followed him in.
But he was just kind of luring
He's just loitering at that point. He saw me, and then he feigned going oh. And the whole time you're using the toilet, you're going, so you never unzipped your pants.
Wait. So he's at the urinal.
The second time, yeah.
But he's looking back.
After he saw me.
It was a phone in his hand, too?
Carried the phone in, on his little dongle or whatever.
All right. Can I
could
get?
be nothing, but
Can I get a? Well, you said 2 times he's gone in there.
oh, well, yeah, he followed.
The one. Well, that is very suspicious that your kid's in the stall and he's just walking around, looking around with a phone in
Following
his
people
hand.
in. Yeah.
Can I get a statement from you of everything that happened?
Sure.
When you had your phone out, what were you looking to do?
I don't know. I just sometimes have it out a lot. It's definitely a problem.
Okay.
I'm not trying to like make people be uncomfortable, and I don't want to be that person for sure. And I'm sorry if that's the situation that happened. That's obviously never anyone's intention.
I got to be direct with you. What's the purpose of recording younger men?
I couldn't even. I couldn't say.
You couldn't explain. Okay. When you recorded the younger kids going into the bathroom, were you like actually watching them like use the restrooms and the facilities?
No, like
So when we look at your phone and we look through it, what's that going to show me?
probably what you're describing
Which part?
of other individuals.
Okay. Is it going to show their
Possibly.
Possibly?
Possibly.
Okay, gotcha. How old do you think those people are?
I couldn't say.
Okay. Gotcha. Can you open your phone and kind of look through it?
If I refuse,
I'm just asking you. I'm asking you a question.
I'm just asking what happens if I say no.
I'm just asking you a question. It's a simple yes or no.
Okay, why? I just want to understand the steps involved, right?
What's your name?
Josh?
Josh.
Yes.
Can I? I ran.
I don't know if they got it.
No. They gave me a read back.
Oh, see, I heard my name over
Yes.
his radio.
Josh.
Yeah.
Will you open your phone and allow me to look through it? Yes or no?
If I say no, what happens?
It's a yes or no question, Josh.
I understand that, but I'd like to understand what is the next steps. I understand for you that it's obviously easier if I say yes.
Okay.
I understand I, of course, have the right to say no, but what I'd like to understand is what happens if, obviously, if I say yes, it's unlocked, you look whatever you're going to do, you see whatever you're going to see.
Okay.
If I say no, what happens next?
Okay. So, Josh, I'm going to read you your Miranda rights, okay?
Okay.
So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to have an attorney present during any questioning. You cannot provide an attorney yourself. One will provide it for you. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to speak to me?
Yes.
Okay.
And then when you saw the phone, though, you saw the camera app open.
I did.
And he was standing. So he was standing like this.
Oh, well, I saw the camera app when he was walking out, and it was looking like he was following the tiles. I didn't see him.
But he was standing next to your son as your son was.
Stand at the
Right. But as your son was actively
urinating.
peeing.
The first thing, yes.
And then you went in there just to see your son because he walked in there,
I always
right?
follow my children.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let me get a statement from you real quick. And then let me go talk to them and see what they got going on. And I got my boss coming here. How many other kids do you think went in the bathroom?
There was another 2. They were teenage, two young adult.
But every time he went in,
Yeah, he came back in to check if I was still in there with him, and I blow my nose all of a sudden.
Wait. So while he was still in the urinal, you walked out?
When he was in the stall, my youngest.
Right.
Yeah, the first time
You walked out and then went back just to see what he would do?
No, I stayed in there. He left, and then he came back in again.
All right. So let me just
up by the bathroom.
All right. So first time your son goes in, he's next to him, phone at an angle, app on. You go through. So then you tell your other son go in there. He goes in the stall. He's just loitering like he's peeing again.
And then
but the phone's in his
went
hand.
to the urinal.
Oh, he saw you.
Yeah,
then,
he was just sitting around.
So then,
he's in the stall.
What?
I don't know.
When did he fake like he was blowing his nose?
He came back in after my son had not come out of the stall because he was just sitting at the urinal for, a minute, doing the backwards check. And then he left. And then he still wasn't done trying, going to the bathroom in the stall.
But
came
you
back
never
in.
unzipped the.
No,
You never just
saw
stood
it.
at the.
You never, obviously people don't flush all the time. It just, again, I work in social services. I'm a case manager.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's anything. It's
Well, no,
enough
that's definitely weird. Did he say anything to your son?
I didn't know this. No.
Did you ask your son if he?
I was just around the corner, but the gentleman in the blue coat, when you was in the restroom, did he say anything to you while you were peeing?
No.
No? Did anything seem off to you?
Nope.
Did you see his phone or anything in his hand?
Nope.
No.
Nothing. But then again, I was only paying attention.
Right. Well,
So I wasn't paying attention.
well, that's what I mean. People usually do.
Yeah.
Cool. Did he admit to it? All right. Easy enough. He got his phone?
We got his phone.
All right.
He admitted to it.
On December 30th, 2025, in Mentor, Ohio, officers were dispatched to a shopping mall following a report involving suspicious behavior inside a public restroom. Police were called after a juvenile reported that an adult male was acting in a concerning manner inside the men's restroom. Dispatch information relayed that a boy and his parent believed a man was standing inside the restroom with a phone, appearing to follow younger males and possibly recording them. Officers were advised the incident had occurred shortly before the call and that the suspect was still believed to be inside the mall. Officers arrived at the mall and located the reporting party, a father accompanied by his children, near the restroom area. At the same time, officers identified an adult male matching the description provided by dispatch. The male was approached in a public area of the mall. An officer initiated contact by greeting him and asking how he was doing. The man responded that he was doing well and returned the greeting. During the initial exchange, the officer observed the man holding his phone and appearing to manipulate it. The officer immediately directed the man to stop and asked him to give the phone to the officer. The officer questioned whether the man was attempting to delete something from the device. The man denied deleting anything and stated he was on his way out. The officer told him to stop and stated that he had reasonable suspicion based on the circumstances and the man's behavior with the phone. The man stated that the interaction was being recorded and that the officer was already recording. The officer confirmed that he was recording and explained that the concern was the man attempting to put his phone away and then taking it back out. The officer asked whether the man had identification on him. The man stated that he could provide his name but questioned whether he was required to provide identification since it was not a traffic stop. The officer agreed that providing a name was sufficient, but stated that having identification would make it easier to locate him in the system. The officer suggested setting the phone aside so they could talk and move the interaction to a nearby area. At that point, another officer communicated over the radio that the call involved a report of a man standing inside the bathroom with his camera open and following young men into the restroom while recording. The officer directly asked the man whether that report was true. The man responded that it might be a little true. When asked to clarify, he admitted that it was a little true. The officer then asked whether the man had been attempting to delete items from his phone when police approached him. The officer described observing the man attempt to put the phone away and then bring it back out, stating it appeared he realized he might need to delete something. The man responded by stating that he was allowed to have his phone out during a police interaction. The officer acknowledged that the man could have his phone but explained why the behavior appeared suspicious in the context of the call they were investigating. The officer then asked where the man wanted to go so they could continue the conversation. The man hesitated but complied as officers directed him to a nearby area away from foot traffic. Before continuing the conversation, officers asked whether the man had any weapons on him. The man stated that he did not. Officers informed him they were going to conduct a brief pat-down for weapons. The man agreed and complied. He was instructed to place his hands behind his back momentarily while officers conducted the pat-down. No weapons were mentioned as being found. While one officer maintained contact with the man, another officer spoke with the reporting party. The father explained that he and his children had arrived at the mall between approximately 12,002 and 12,000 tows. He stated that his youngest child had gone into the restroom and that the man followed closely behind. The father explained that he works in a related field and immediately felt something was wrong based on the man's positioning and behavior. The father stated that his older child was using a urinal when he noticed the man standing nearby holding a phone. He said the phone appeared to have a camera application open. He did not see an actual image or video but believed the camera app was visible. He explained that the man was standing at a urinal in close proximity to his son and was not positioned in a typical manner. The officer asked whether there was a partition between the urinals. The father stated there was not. He described the man standing next to his son with the phone held at an angle. The father said that when he walked around the corner, the man appeared to leave the restroom abruptly and was not actively using the urinal. The father explained that after the initial encounter, they continued shopping, but later returned to the same restroom area. He stated that he asked his youngest son to go into the restroom again to see whether the man was still there. According to the father, the man entered the restroom again and appeared to loiter while the child went into a stall. The father stated that the man stood near the urinals again with his phone in his hand and did not appear to be using the restroom. He described the man as lingering and looking around while holding the phone. The father stated that the man left and then came back again, appearing to blow his nose while still holding the phone. The officer asked whether the man ever spoke to the children. The father stated he did not hear the man say anything to them. He stated that the behavior alone caused concern and prompted him to contact police. The officer informed the father that his observations were considered suspicious and asked whether he would be willing to provide a formal statement. The father agreed. The officer advised him that they would document everything and then speak further with the man. As the officers continued their investigation, the man remained detained nearby, while officers gathered statements and prepared to continue questioning him regarding his phone use and activities inside the restroom. After obtaining the father's initial account, officers returned their attention to the man, who identified himself as Josh. An officer asked him directly about his phone use inside the restroom and what he had been doing at the time. Josh stated that he often had his phone out and acknowledged that it was a problem for him. He said he was not trying to make anyone uncomfortable and stated that if his behavior caused concern, he was sorry for that situation. He told officers that it was never his intention to make anyone uncomfortable. The officer then asked Josh a direct question regarding the purpose of recording younger males in the restroom. Josh stated that he could not explain the purpose. The officer clarified the question and asked whether Josh had been watching individuals while they were using the restroom facilities. Josh answered that he was not. The officer then asked what officers would likely see if they reviewed the contents of Josh's phone. Josh responded that it would probably show what the officer was describing, indicating recordings of other individuals. The officer asked for clarification about what parts of individuals might be visible in those recordings. Josh responded with uncertainty and stated, possibly, without providing a clear answer. When asked how old he believed the individuals were, Josh stated that he could not say. The officer then asked Josh to open his phone and allow officers to look through it. Josh did not immediately agree or refuse. Instead, he asked what would happen if he refused. The officer explained that he was asking a simple yes or no question and asked again whether Josh would allow officers to look through the phone. Josh stated that he understood he had the right to say no and acknowledged that it would be easier for officers if he said yes. He stated that if he said yes, officers would unlock the phone and see whatever was on it. He then repeated his question about what would happen if he said no. At this point, the officer advised Josh that he was going to read him his Miranda rights. The officer read the Miranda warning, advising Josh that he had the right to remain silent, that anything he said could be used against him in court, that he had the right to an attorney, and that one would be provided if he could not afford one. The officer asked whether Josh understood his rights. Josh stated that he did. The officer then asked whether Josh was willing to speak. Josh stated that he was willing to speak. The officer returned to clarifying the original report. He asked the father again to confirm what he saw when he observed the phone. The father stated that he saw what appeared to be the camera app open on the phone as the man was walking out of the restroom. He explained that the man had been standing next to his son while his son was actively using the urinal. He stated that the man was positioned close by and that the phone was angled in a way that caused concern. The officer asked whether the man had been actively using the restroom at that time. The father stated that it did not appear so. He described the man as standing there without urinating. The officer then asked the father to clarify the sequence of events during the second encounter. The father stated that his youngest son went into a stall while the man lingered inside the restroom. He explained that the man appeared to be loitering and looking around rather than using the facilities. The father stated that the man exited the restroom and then returned again while his son was still in the stall. He described the man as pretending to blow his nose during that return. He stated that the man continued to hold his phone during this time. The officer asked whether the man ever unzipped his pants or appeared to actually use the urinal during these encounters. The father stated that he did not observe that behavior. The officer asked whether the man said anything to the children or attempted to interact verbally. The father stated that he did not hear any verbal interaction. He reiterated that the concern was based on the man's repeated presence, phone positioning, and behavior inside the restroom. The officer summarized the father's account to ensure accuracy, restating that the first time the man was standing next to the child with a phone angled and the camera app open, then left when noticed. The second time, the man returned while the youngest child was in a stall and lingered with the phone, left, and returned again. The father confirmed that summary was accurate. While this conversation continued, officers maintained control of Josh nearby. Josh remained cooperative in terms of physical compliance but continued asking questions about the process and the steps involved. He did not provide additional detail regarding the content on his phone beyond acknowledging that it would likely show recordings of individuals in the restroom. The officer advised the father that the behavior described was concerning and explained that they would continue speaking with Josh and escalate the investigation based on the information gathered. The father agreed and remained available to provide a formal statement. Officers then returned to Josh and informed him that the witness statements described repeated restroom entries, loitering, and phone use around minors. Josh did not dispute that he had been in the restroom multiple times or that he had his phone out. He acknowledged that having his phone out in that setting was an issue for him but did not provide a clear explanation for why he was recording or what he intended to do with the recordings. As the questioning continued, officers observed that Josh remained focused on the legal process and potential outcomes rather than offering clarification of the events. Officers maintained a calm and controlled tone and continued documenting his responses. Based on the admissions made and the witness statements, officers began preparing to move from investigative detention toward enforcement action. The situation progressed from initial questioning to a more serious investigative phase as officers evaluated the information obtained, Josh's statements, and the observations reported by the father. Officers coordinated with additional personnel, including a supervisor, who was en route to the scene as they prepared to determine the next steps in the investigation. As the investigation progressed, officers continued coordinating on scene while a supervisor responded to the location. Based on the statements provided by the reporting father, the sequence of events described inside the restroom, and Josh's own admissions regarding his phone use, officers determined the situation had moved beyond a brief field inquiry. Officers informed Josh that they needed to continue the investigation further and that he was being detained while they clarified the scope of the incident. Josh remained physically cooperative during this phase and did not attempt to leave the area. Officers maintained control of the interaction, keeping Josh positioned away from the restroom and public foot traffic while they finalized their assessment. Officers reiterated the concern that the reported behavior involved repeated restroom entries, phone positioning, and proximity to minors, which had prompted the call for service. Officers confirmed over the radio that they had the reporting party's statement and that Josh had acknowledged having recordings on his phone consistent with what was being described. An officer stated that Josh had admitted to recording individuals in the restroom and that the behavior appeared to match the suspicious activity reported by the father. With the supervisor arriving on scene, officers briefed him on the situation, including the father's observations, the timeline of the restroom encounters, and Josh's responses during questioning. The supervisor reviewed the information and spoke briefly with officers to confirm the facts gathered so far. Officers then informed Josh that, based on the information obtained, he was being taken into custody. He was advised that the decision was based on the statements from the reporting party and his own admissions regarding recording individuals in a restroom setting. Josh did not physically resist as officers initiated the arrest. Officers instructed Josh to place his hands behind his back. Josh complied, and officers applied handcuffs without incident. Officers checked the handcuffs to ensure they were properly secured and confirmed that Josh was not experiencing discomfort. No use of force beyond standard handcuffing was reported. Once handcuffed, Josh was escorted to a patrol vehicle. Officers maintained a calm tone and continued to document the interaction. Josh did not make additional statements regarding the incident during this portion of the arrest. Officers ensured he was safely seated inside the vehicle and secured for transport. With Josh in custody, officers returned briefly to the reporting party to update him on the status of the investigation. The father was informed that Josh had been taken into custody and that the case would continue to be investigated. Officers advised the father that his statement would be included in the report and that investigators might contact him again if additional information was needed. The father acknowledged and remained cooperative. Officers also confirmed that no further suspicious activity had been reported in the restroom after Josh was detained. Mall security was advised of the situation, and officers ensured the area was safe before clearing the immediate scene. Back at the patrol vehicle, officers completed arrest paperwork and ensured that all relevant information was documented. Josh remained seated in the vehicle and did not attempt to resist or interfere with the process. Officers confirmed his identity and prepared for transport from the mall. During this time, officers noted that Josh had earlier acknowledged that his phone would likely contain recordings of other individuals in the restroom. This admission was documented as part of the investigation. Officers did not discuss the contents of the phone further on camera at the scene. Once all procedures were completed, officers prepared to transport Josh from the location. The patrol vehicle departed the mall without incident. Officers ensured that the reporting party and his children were able to continue safely and that no further assistance was required at the scene. The focus of the incident shifted from on-scene investigation to formal processing, with Josh now in custody and the case moving forward through standard legal procedures. Officers concluded their on-scene duties after confirming that all immediate concerns had been addressed and that the environment was secure. The arrest marked the critical enforcement action in the investigation, transitioning the incident from an initial report of suspicious behavior to a formal criminal case based on the information collected and admissions made during the encounter. After Josh was transported from the mall, officers completed the remaining administrative steps related to the incident. Reports were finalized, documenting the original call for service, the statements provided by the reporting father, the observations described inside the restroom, and Josh's own admissions during questioning. Officers noted the timeline of events, including the multiple restroom entries, the positioning near urinals, and the use of a phone with what appeared to be a camera application open. Josh was formally booked following his arrest. Based on the investigation conducted at the scene, he was charged with felonious voyeurism in connection with the incident at the mall restroom. The charge was applied due to the reported recording behavior inside a public restroom involving other individuals, including minors, as described by witnesses and acknowledged by Josh during questioning. The phone referenced during the encounter was documented as part of the investigation. Officers recorded that Josh had stated the device would likely contain recordings consistent with what had been described by the reporting party. Further examination of the phone was not detailed on scene and was left to follow standard investigative and legal procedures. The reporting father and his children were not detained or cited in connection with the incident. Officers classified the children as reporting parties and potential victims based on the information provided. The father was advised that he might be contacted later as the case progressed and acknowledged that instruction. No further action was required from him at the scene. Mall security was informed of the outcome of the police response. Officers confirmed that there were no additional reports of suspicious behavior and that no other individuals had come forward at that time. The restroom area was cleared and normal mall activity resumed after police departure. No medical assistance was requested or required for any individual involved. There were no reported injuries associated with the incident. Officers documented that Josh was cooperative during the arrest process and that no force beyond standard handcuffing was used. At the time of reporting, the case remained open as the investigation continued. No court disposition, plea, or sentencing information was available. There was no information provided regarding bond status, release conditions, or future court dates beyond the filing of the charge. No administrative or internal review findings were provided as part of the available information. The incident documentation reflected that officers acted based on the statements given, observed behavior, and admissions made during the encounter. The investigation concluded for on-scene purposes with Josh in custody, and the matter referred through the appropriate legal channels for further review. Josh is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.